Section 1. You will hear a man talking to a woman about hiring a car. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Pause the recording for 30 seconds.
You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hi, I'm Carlton Mackay, and you booked me some flights recently to Australia and some internal ones?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mackay. I remember you now, of course.
Well, I find I'm going to need car hire while I'm in Sydney after all. I think you said you could recommend a good value company?
Yes, that's right. Cost-wise cars. They're very good and don't charge lots of extras. They have 3 offices in the Sydney area, including one office right at the airport.
The number of offices in Sydney is 3, so 3 has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hi, I'm Carlton Mackay, and you booked me some flights recently to Australia and some internal ones?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mackay. I remember you now, of course.
Well, I find I'm going to need car hire while I'm in Sydney after all. I think you said you could recommend a good value company?
Yes, that's right. Cost-wise cars. They're very good and don't charge lots of extras. They have 3 offices in the Sydney area, including one office right at the airport.
So I'll just book it online?
Yes, you can book online, but you should have their phone number too, just in case.
Of course.
That's 1800 705 639. It's on the website, and you can get a discount if you quote your booking reference from us.
Oh, what's that?
I mean the one you got from me when we booked your flights. I have it here. 743002.
Oh, thanks. I guess I've got it at home, but I'll write it down again in case. A discount is good. So, where exactly is the office? I'll be coming to the domestic terminal from Melbourne.
It's immediately outside the international terminal.
OK. And another thing I want to check is, will they be open when I arrive, or is it just office hours?
Well, they open at 7:15 and close at 6:15 in the evening. So let's see. You're due to land at 6:10. By the time you've collected your bags and so on, which will take a little while, they won't be open. But if you arrange it in advance, they can wait for you. You do have to pay an extra $30 for that, though.
OK. Well, I'm staying near the airport the first night, so I could go back in the morning and save a day's hire?
Yes, that'd be better. That'd save you about $50.
Do you know what kind of cars they have?
Quite a variety, I think. The best value should be under $60 a day, with luck. That would be the Echo, I guess.
Sorry?
ECHO. Like when your voice bounces back?
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
Pause the recording for 30 seconds.
Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
I suppose I have to book online before I leave?
That's the best way. They won't deduct any charges until you finish with the car, but they do need your credit card number when you book, and of course they'll want to see your driving licence when you collect. How long will you need it?
I'm in Sydney for 7 days. I'll only actually need to use it on 3 or 4 of those days, I hope, but I'll keep it for the whole week. I guess it's going to be a few $100s. Can you suggest anything I can do to keep the cost down?
Oh, you get quite a big discount if you do less than 1,000 kilometres in the week.
Oh, that's good. I don't suppose I will be driving that far, actually.
But, oh yes, the other thing I should mention is the insurance. It's included in the price.
Oh, that is good value then.
Yes, but what you must remember is that it doesn't cover anything except the car, so you must be careful not to leave anything at all in it when you park, because your luggage isn't insured, even if it's out of sight, locked in the boot.
Yeah, well, I think my travel policy will cover that, actually.
Good.
OK, and can I return the car outside office hours? My flight home is very early in the morning. Can I put the keys through the door or something?
There's a secure box just outside the office on the pavement. You just drop the keys in there.
Oh, good.
And one other thing, you should remember to buy petrol before you leave it. If you don't drop the car back with a full tank, you get charged to fill it. I recommend you go to a supermarket before you go out to the airport.
Thanks for the tip.
Not at all. Do call in again if there's anything else I can help with.
I will. Many thanks.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Part 2. You will hear a hotel manager talking to some new staff. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good morning, all of you. I do apologize for being a little late starting our meeting. One of our guests has been taken ill. Susie, who's our assistant manager, has driven him to the hospital, but she was in the middle of compiling our weekly report for head office, which is urgent, and I had to finish writing it for her. Now, this is the first day of work at the Ocean Edge Hotel for all of you. Let me say something that might surprise you. You've all got a qualification in hospitality, and some of you have got very high grades. But to me, what counts most is that you enjoy the contact with guests and really want to make a career in the hospitality industry. You'll be getting some very valuable experience here, so make the most of it. A few words about the history of the Ocean Edge Hotel. There have been buildings on this site for about 250 years. We know that in the 18th century there was a bakery here, when the town was very new. The building was destroyed by fire in the early 19th century, and houses were constructed on the site. These, in their turn, were demolished in the middle of the 20th century and replaced by the hotel. I think it's fair to say that this is a popular place to work. We're always getting job applications from local people, even when we haven't any vacancies. And whereas in many hotels staff tend to stay for a year or even less, here 5 is pretty standard. And in fact, several of our staff have been here for 10 years or more. You're the first people we've appointed in the last 3 years. And we only needed to do that because we're currently constructing 25 new bedrooms. Depending on their location, hotels usually have mostly business guests or mostly tourists. We attract a large number of tourists who come to spend a few days beside the ocean. We also have quite a lot of people who are here on business and perhaps stay for 1 or 2 nights. What we've noticed recently, though, is that we're getting more and more regulars. people staying here for 4 nights every week because they have jobs in this locality, but live somewhere else in the country, so they go home for the weekend.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now let me give you an idea of the layout of the hotel. All the bedrooms are along walkways in the gardens, and the main building, which we're in now, has most of the other rooms that guests use. Obviously, when they arrive, the first place they find themselves in is the reception area, where we're sitting. The desk is over on the right of the entrance, and the office is immediately behind it. There's a connecting door from the desk itself and another entrance from the corridor. A lot of local residents hire the function room for parties and other events. This is right at the front of the hotel, on the left of the reception area, opposite the desk. This room is booked several evenings a week, and most weekends. It's a major source of income. Companies are very important customers for us, and a large number of local firms hold conferences here. To reach the main conference room, you go past the fountain as far as you can, and the door's directly in front of you. The meeting room is often hired by companies and other local organizations for small gatherings. For this room, you turn into the corridor at the side of the reception desk, and you'll see the room facing you at the end of the corridor. Our restaurant is open to the public, as well as to hotel residents, and I'm pleased to say it has a very good reputation locally. You turn left just before the fountain, as though you're heading for the guests' rooms, and it's the large room on your right. Next, I should mention that
That is the end of Part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 2.
Section 3. You will hear 2 students talking about the moa with the lecturer. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Thank you all for coming here today to hear about the moa, a kind of animal which has been extinct for a long time. Well, first of all, we look at what the moa are. The moa are 9 species of flightless birds endemic to New Zealand. They were the dominant herbivores in New Zealand's forest, shrubland and subalpine ecosystems for thousands of years. But around 500 years ago, they all went extinct. When I mention extinct animals during ancient times, you may immediately think of dinosaurs, which disappeared around 66 million years ago. Fossils of dinosaurs, which we use to study, are large in number, but not many of those of moa remain, though both animals appeal to people today.
So, the mowers sound more mysterious now. But sir, I've got a question about these flightless birds. How can we distinguish them from other birds?
That's a good question. Birds are commonly characterized by being warm-blooded, having feathers and wings, usually capable of flight, and laying eggs, while the flightless moa, until their extinction, were the largest birds in the world. Their heads are relatively small in relation to their bodies, and they are the only wingless birds lacking even the vestigial wings and substantial tailbones in their family.
That's impressive, but were they born to be like that? I mean, when they were chicks.
Yes, absolutely. So let's move on to the chicks. The eggs of moa were laid in nests and incubated for about 2 months. The chicks would be well developed upon hatching, and probably would be able to leave the nests to feed on their own almost immediately.
I've heard that the male moa are thought to have incubated the eggs. Is that true?
I think there is a possibility for that. I've read somewhere that the sex-specific DNA recovered from the outer surfaces of eggshells suggested that these eggs were likely to have been hatched by the male, but we still need to consult more. But I have a question. There has been some occasional speculation that the moa were still alive, because someone said they had caught sight of them in New Zealand in the late 19th century, or even the 20th. Do you think it's possible?
I'm not amazed by that, since that kind of thing has been claimed several times. But I find it funny, because no reliable evidence of moa tracks has ever been found, and experts still contend that moa survival is extremely unlikely.
So what was the reason for the moa's extinction? I wonder if it was global warming or some other factors related to their living environment.
Well, before the arrival of human settlers in New Zealand, the moa's only predator was the massive Haas eagle. Then the Maori arrived sometime before CE 1300, and all moa genera were soon driven to extinction by hunting. What a horrible thing.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now, listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
All right. Now let's look at the features of some species of moa. The South Island giant moa may have been the tallest birds ever known, and the second tallest of the 9 moa species is the North Island giant moa, with the females being markedly larger than males, both in weight and height.
And I've heard that the smallest of the moa birds are the coastal moa. Is that right?
Yes, you were right. And have you heard about any other kind of moa before?
I know the crested moa. The eggs they laid may be larger than others.
As they mainly lived in the remote interior of the southern island, their fossils are rare or absent in archaeological sites, and no egg remains have yet been identified.
Are there any species of moa that have got more fossils?
Yes, of course. A considerable amount of remains of the stout-legged moa exist, due to the well-preserved properties of their habitat. Their skulls reveal relatively bad vision, a good sense of smell, and a very short bill. Then there is the eastern moa. They were remarkable in having very long and narrow windpipes, which probably enabled them to make louder, more resonant calls than those of other moa, and had the greatest vocal abilities, so they could communicate when they could not see each other in the forest or at night. They used a range of senses, apart from sound, in their search for food, such as their sense of smell and vision.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4.
You will hear a lecture about how carbon dioxide is produced from food and what are the effects of the emission problem. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. Good afternoon, thanks for coming to today's lecture. In the last few decades, the environmental impact of food production and consumption has become one of the greatest concerns. When we look at what we eat and how we produce the food, we can find extensive evidence for how we damage our environment. Greenhouse gas emissions may come from livestock such as cows, agricultural soils, and rice production. According to statistics, the carbon dioxide emissions from the production of the food people consume every day are almost the same as the emissions we make when we are driving. Let's look at some more specific examples. The cultivation and processing of 100 grams of coffee beans are responsible for 140 grams of carbon dioxide. Now, some international organizations are training farmers in many countries to use sustainable agricultural methods as a way of reducing their carbon dioxide emissions. All agricultural practices have been found to have a variety of effects on the environment. Some of the environmental effects are associated with meat production. The popular red meat requires 28 times more land to produce than chicken, 11 times more water, and results in 5 times more climate warming emissions. According to another research, cooking process also causes greenhouse gas emissions. Scientists now are working on how to best minimize its impact. Another problem that we cannot neglect is the packaging of food products. As packaging takes a lot of energy, water, and other natural resources to produce. So, a lot of natural resources are wasted when we throw the packaging materials away. Furthermore, packaging waste produces a big amount of greenhouse gas. To make things even worse, the food we eat often comes from places far away. Therefore, the transportation of our food across long distances contributes to air and water pollution. In recent decades, with the growing number of population, more food is in demand, so more land has been used to produce food. Hundreds and even thousands of forests have been cut down. It had a devastating effect on the climate because forests can absorb greenhouse gases. People in different parts of the world apply various kinds of farming practices. In most countries, cows and other livestock are kept on the farms, while in some countries they are kept in a restricted area on a mountain, but they all contribute to the carbon dioxide emissions. And for animal agriculture, the problem can be more serious because the livestock need food all the time. In America, cows eat an overwhelming amount of corn and soybeans each year. In order to create a better world for us and our future generations, we should adopt sustainable agriculture. The goal of sustainable agriculture is to meet the world's growing demand for food at the present without affecting future generations. Every person involved in the food system, growers, food processors, distributors, retailers, consumers, and waste managers, can play a role in ensuring a sustainable agricultural system. There are many practices commonly used by people working in sustainable agriculture and sustainable food systems. Crop growers may change their food production methods to prevent pollution, although some other areas of agriculture are very hard to change, such as fishing. Consumers and retailers concerned with sustainability can look for foods that are environmentally friendly. However, sustainable agriculture is more than a collection of practices. It is also a process of negotiation, a push and pull between the competing interests of an individual farmer or of people in a community as they work to solve complex problems about how we grow our food. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that we may not be able to go back to the old times and live a simpler lifestyle, but we can take an active role in preventing more environmental problems caused by carbon dioxide emissions. In the next lecture, I will share some of the studies and effective solutions with you. That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. In the Ielts test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to your answer sheet.